This video is going to help you learn how to read and write decimals. So we're going to be looking at numbers that have decimal points in them. First, let's review what we know about decimals so far. So let's look back at our example where we had $1 and 35 cents. So the 1 is the number of wholes that we have. When we talk about money, our whole is $1. So we would have one whole dollar. The period, or the dot, is called a decimal point. Its job is to separate the whole, or the dollars, from the parts, or the cents. The 35 tells us the part of the whole that we have. In this example, we have 35 cents. So that's 35 out of the 100 cents it would take to make another whole dollar. You already know how to read money. You would read this as $1 and 35 cents. Sometimes we have numbers with a decimal point that's not describing money, and there's a special way that we read these numbers. So let's look at a new number. Okay, so here we have a number with a decimal point that's not describing money. There's no dollar sign in this number. So the first thing that we need to do is read the whole number. So that's everything to the left of the decimal point. So we would read that 2. Then every time you get to the decimal point, you say the word and when you're writing the number in word form, you write the word and. So we have 2 and. Then you read the number to the right of the decimal point. So 58. Finally, you read the name of the place the last digit is in. So our last digit is the 8, and that's in the hundredths place. So we would read this number 2 and 58 hundredths. Let's practice with another number. So the first thing we do is read everything to the left of the decimal point, our whole. So our whole in this one is 3. We say the word and when we get to the decimal point. Then we read the number to the right of the decimal point, so 89. And finally, we read the name of the place the last digit is in. So the last digit is always the one on the very far right. So that's in our hundredths place. So we would read this number 3 and 89 hundredths. This next example looks a little bit different because it's a smaller number. It doesn't have as many digits as the other one we were looking at. We read it the same way. So we read everything to the left of the decimal point first. So 2. The decimal point tells us to say and. Then we read everything to the right of the decimal point. So now that's just 7. And in this number, our last digit is in the tenths place. We don't have anything in the hundredths in this number. So we would write the word tenths. And we would read this number 2 and 7 tenths. Okay, let's do one last example. So remember, we're going to read everything to the left of the decimal point first. So 4. The decimal point tells us to say and. Then we read what's to the right of the decimal point, 1. Then we look at the last digit and see what place it's in. It's in the tenths. Again, we don't have anything in the hundredths in this number. Since 1 is singular, I'm not going to put the S at the end of tenths because I only have one of them. So I would read this 4 and 1 tenth.